Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Tonight, we're hearing from Congressman Tom Reed on his reflections of last night's riot on Capitol Hill. Big Fox News' Matt Kleindens joins us from Corning with the highlights of Reed's press conference.
Good evening. In a Zoom call with local reporters this afternoon, Tom Reed said he was disgusted by what happened last night and hopes that America can move forward from this tragedy.
What happened yesterday was not American. That was not democracy.
Tom Reed denounced the mob that stormed the Capitol last night, saying that was not how the founders envisioned the peaceful transition of power. Reed addressed the misinformation that spurred distrust in the election, stating he understands some people's frustrations, but calls on them to rely on the facts.
That's an obligation we, as citizens in this society, have to accept. We have to do the work of trust but verify and hold folks accountable based on the facts and the data that we can ascertain for ourselves.
Reed says he doesn't judge his colleagues for raising objections, but says he calls out anyone who objected to the results of the election for political gain.
Prior to the vote yesterday, I had conversations with members of the House and senators where I know they looked me in the eye and they indicated to me that they were purely doing this out of political motivations. And that is wrong to me.
With Joe Biden's election being certified this morning, Reed now calls on Americans to move forward.
Now is the time for us as American citizens to come together and to become united as one nation to confront the problems that face us and solve these problems together.
When asked about calls to remove President Trump via impeachment or the 25th Amendment, Tom Reed says he's against those actions and says that Trump's statement committing to the peaceful transition is a positive step. Reporting from Corning, Matt Kleindens, Big Fox, WYDC.
And around the world, strong reaction is pouring in following yesterday's storming of the U.S. Capitol by a pro-Trump mob. Benjamin Hall has more from London.
Strong reactions pouring in from around the world following the worst breach of security at the U.S. Capitol in more than 200 years. Dozens of world leaders condemning the violence that was touched off by a mob of Trump supporters storming the building. And some are laying the blame squarely on the president, suggesting he fueled the fire by asking his supporters to march on Congress and then failed to fully condemn the violence.
He should absolutely condemn everything that has taken place. There's no question about that at all, and there is no justification for it.
For most people watching overseas, it was a stunning breach of the rule of law that seemed impossible in the US, which has a long tradition of peaceful transfers of power. Some observers say it demonstrates American hypocrisy and weakens the drive to spread democracy around the world.
The whole world was surprised yesterday. America claims it as a country of democracy and human rights, but I don't see that incident as democracy nor human rights.
There are also growing concerns that America's adversaries could use the incident to justify further human rights abuses, including China, which referenced the violence at the Capitol while defending mass arrests in Hong Kong on Thursday.
Pompeo said he wanted to free the Hong Kong people from oppression. It is the American people who should be liberated and rescued.
The UN Secretary General is also expressing concern and is reportedly considering convening a special session of the Security Council to address the violence. In London, Benjamin Hall, Fox News.
Meanwhile, the Secret Service is ramping up security at the White House, Naval Observatory, and Secret Service headquarters. The move comes after Wednesday's riot at the Capitol building. D.C. police say they've arrested at least 52 people. A law enforcement analyst worries that since rioters were cleared from the Capitol grounds, they'll disperse to other areas of the city and potentially incite more violence. A key White House figure has resigned in the wake of Wednesday's D.C. riot. Matt Pottinger reportedly stepped down from his post as White House Deputy National Security Advisor today. A person close to Pottinger told CNN his resignation comes in response to President Trump's reaction to Wednesday's violence. Pottinger is not alone in rethinking his position at the White House. CNN has also reported that National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien and Deputy Chief of Staff Chris Liddell are considering resigning. Former Attorney General William Barr has some harsh words for his former boss, President Trump, all over Wednesday's riots at the U.S. Capitol building. In a statement, he said, quote, "Orchestrating a mob to pressure Congress is inexcusable. The president's conduct yesterday was a betrayal of his office and supporters. Trump's supporters broke into the Capitol and disrupted the joint session of Congress. Barr resigned as Attorney General on December 23rd. Governor Andrew Cuomo calling for the legalization of recreational marijuana in New York. In part of his State of the State agenda, Cuomo was calling for a new Office of Cannabis Management to oversee recreational and medical use of marijuana. The governor argued yesterday that legalization should have happened years ago.
I think too many people have been imprisoned and incarcerated and punished. Too many of those people are Black, Latino, and poor. I think this year will give us the momentum to get it over the goal line.
This is Governor Cuomo's third attempt at getting recreational marijuana laws passed. The governor's office says legalization would generate more than $300 million in tax revenue for New York. As the post-holiday COVID-19 surge continues and the vaccines slowly roll out, now health officials say there's a new threat in South Africa. John Lawrence reports.
The United States' battle against COVID-19 is far from over.
It's not a home run yet because we don't really have the kinds of drugs where you give it that can stop the virus in its tracks.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's ensemble forecast projects as many as 438,000 people in the U.S. could die from COVID-19 by the end of the month. Some Nevada funeral homes are running out of space to store bodies and are using refrigerated trailers.
It's unfortunate. It's something that I never would ever have believed in my career I would ever have to be dealing with this.
CDC officials say a variant of the virus, first found in the UK, has infected at least 52 people in the US.
What it does, according to the Brits, is that it makes it easier for the virus to spread from person to person. So it is a virus that is in many respects more transmissible.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, is also concerned about another version of the virus, first identified in South Africa, which may lessen the effectiveness of COVID-19 antibody treatments.
It is a little bit more complicated because some of those mutations might have a negative impact on the efficacy of some of the monoclonal antibodies that are used.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
COVID vaccine administration hasn't gone smoothly everywhere, but one county in Illinois has figured out how to do it using a drive-through model, and they've inoculated plenty of people using it. Kent Wainscott has details, including why doing the same thing elsewhere could be a challenge.
So it was a safe way to keep people at a distance. We thought that this would be the best way to get people through.
And so far, more than 1,000 people have rolled down their windows and rolled up their sleeves and been vaccinated since Lake County, Illinois opened this drive-through vaccination site last week. At this point, it's only for healthcare workers who don't work at a hospital.
So we have dentists and we have paramedics and we have physical therapists.
And pharmacists like Joe Kirschenbaum.
Couldn't come soon enough in my mind. Yeah, no, I'm glad I got the first dose done.
Milwaukee's health commissioner told 12 News on Tuesday a drive-through vaccination site was considered, but concerns about cold climate and the need for space to monitor vaccine recipients for 15 minutes or more after the shot made it unlikely.
At this point, we don't think that the drive-through setup is really conducive to that.
Lake County officials agree the weather is a challenge.
You go through a lot of hand warmers.
We have a heater, we have doors on, so the vaccinators are able to go in and out.
And here's how they're handling that waiting period after the vaccination. Drivers here have already received the vaccine. They're waiting the 15 minutes with staff here to monitor them and a doctor on standby. It's an example they believe others will follow. Could this model be done here?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A teen girl and her boyfriend are in custody for the killing of the girl's mother at her home in the Rochester, New York area. Authorities say 17-year-old Hannah Thomas and 16-year-old Richard Avila both live in Arizona, and they were visiting Otilia Piros for the holidays. The teens were stopped for speeding last week in Missouri in Piros's car. Well, it led police to contact police in Greece, New York, who discovered the mom's body. Authorities say the handgun found in the car is the same one used to shoot the mom twice in the head sometime last week. The teens will be extradited to New York to face charges of second-degree murder and second-degree criminal possession of a weapon. The government says another 787,000 Americans filed for unemployment benefits for the first time last week. The number is seasonally adjusted. It is a slight decrease in claims from the week before. Meanwhile, more than 161,000 workers filed for benefits for the first time under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program without seasonal adjustments. The program helps those who aren't eligible for regular state aid, such as self-employed. Still ahead tonight, while 2 coronavirus vaccines continue to roll out across the country, 2 new variants of the virus have emerged.
If there's not a match or there's sufficient deviation, then the manufacturers will have to go back to work and create yet another vaccine, hopefully one that will cover both strains.
So, can our current vaccines fight the new strains? Hear the latest concerns from health experts ahead.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. It is feeling quite chilly outside. Temperature readings in the low 30s today, and it's going to remain in the 30s for the upcoming days. We have high pressure building in. Initially, we're going to be on the east side of it, and that's going to be a cool wind that will be coming in tomorrow. And so not only is it going to be cool, it's going to be cloudy and possibly even a little bit breezy. And so it's going to feel a little bit cooler than normal. So if you have to take your furry friends outside, take them for a walk, you definitely need to bundle up because temperature readings will be in the 20s. And with just a little bit of a breeze, it's going to feel like 16 degrees at 6 o'clock, 20 degrees is what it's going to feel like at 8 o'clock. But by 10 o'clock, it looks like we could reach temperature readings right at the freezing mark, and then a little bit warmer at 2 o'clock with highs around 34 degrees. We eventually drop back down into the 20s in the mid to late afternoon into the evening hours. So yeah, again, you definitely want to just not only bundle up, but you need that heavy coat for tomorrow. But the good news is as high pressure builds in, it's going to leave us with dry conditions for your Saturday and Sunday. And so the sun will promise to come out on Saturday at least, but those clouds will start to increase again as another system starts to take shape. That low pressure system will be landing in the southeast over the weekend, and then it eventually moves to the northeast. It is going to pull a lot of cold air toward our area and moisture right into the region, and so there's the possibility of snow again as we head into your Tuesday. So more snow in the forecast, and it's going to be quite cold for the upcoming days. Definitely wintertime for sure. Temperatures tonight dropping down to around 20 degrees in Corning, 25 in Elmira, 22 degrees for you in Perkinsville. Highs tomorrow, not a big difference. 32 degrees in Elmira, 34 in Corning. But we're going to stay in the 20s, though, in Perkinsville. Here's a look at your extended forecast. Notice we're going to see plenty of sunshine for your Saturday. We start off around 20 degrees, but it is going to be a little bit warmer than Friday with a high around 35 degrees. Then those clouds will return Sunday into Monday. Those clouds will get a little bit lower on Monday as that next storm system approaches. Highs will be around 35. And then it looks like we could see a batch of snow coming in on Tuesday. Overall, temperatures will be a little bit warmer for the middle to the end of next week. Upper 30s could be possible on Wednesday with a lot of cloud cover, but then sunshine, winds out on Thursday. Highs could be close to around 40 degrees in the afternoon. Overnight lows will be in the 20s for the next 7 days.
While 2 coronavirus vaccines continue to roll out across the U.S., 2 new variants of the virus have emerged. So, can our current vaccines fight the new strains? Mandy Gaither examines that in our Health Minute.
2 new variants of the coronavirus seem to make the virus more easily spread. One, first identified in Britain, has already been discovered in the U.S. While doctors worried it might have mutated enough to evade vaccine protection, the evidence now suggests it has not. However, the jury's still out on the second new variant first seen in South Africa.
We don't want that strain to start running around the world and causing more damage.
Dr. William Schaffner, former CDC official and professor of infectious diseases at Vanderbilt University, says over the next few weeks, virologists will be studying to see how much of a match there is between this new variant first identified in South Africa and our vaccines. Scientists say it has to do with where the changes are and how they affect the shape and function of the virus. All current vaccines target what is known as the spike protein, the structure the virus uses to get into the cells it attacks. But mutations that change the way that spike protein looks can also help hide it from the immune system, making antibodies less effective.
If there's not a match or there's sufficient deviation, then the manufacturers will have to go back to work and create yet another vaccine, hopefully one that will cover both strains.
A woman in California is being hailed a hero after saving her neighbor from a burning home on Monday. The 76-year-old grandmother was driving home when she saw the flames. When she pulled up to the home, she immediately sprang into action to help. Laura Acevedo reports.
This is what Marty saw as she was driving towards her home just off of Otay Lakes Road in East Chula Vista Monday night.
You just see a flame, you didn't see smoke. And then you realize, oh my God, it's fire.
Her neighbor's home was on fire. Marty jumped out of her car.
And I went running over and I started pounding on the side till, getting their attention because the doors were closed and they were in there.
Eventually, a man made it out of the home but said a woman was still inside. Without thinking twice, 76-year-old Marty crawled inside the burning home.
So I was able to crawl in a little, and I'm saying maybe 3 feet. You don't do very much at my age.
She could hear the woman coughing and gasping for air.
I managed to touch her ankle, so I was able to stand up and grab her clothes because you just grab in the thin air, and then when you got something, you pulled it. And so both of us fell back outside. And then down the stairs.
Marty and the two neighbors she had just saved were rushed to the hospital for smoke inhalation. The grandmother of 3 thinks she did nothing special.
I did anything anybody else would have done with the same. You if you have a conscience or you're a human being, you do it.
Marty's daughter, who rushed to the scene last night, took this picture of her mom and a firefighter, proving that heroes do come in all sizes.
Yeah, she saved her life for sure. So she can say no, it's okay. She's humble.
52 years. That's how many years Carol Smithson spent as a registered nurse. And on her final shift Tuesday night in Chesterfield, Virginia, it ended in a way she never expected, with a surprise car parade set up by her son, with a line of family, friends, and patients all coming out to thank her. Todd Haas was there for the celebration.
I figured I would finish my shift at 5:30 and that would be the end of it, so I had no idea. Congratulations. Thank you. Hi, guys.
You're great at what you do. There's nobody like you.
This is my 50th year of nursing. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. But girl, if you're going to do this, you better do it now. Thank you. It's so good to see you. Love you.
It's like, oh man, I got to call everybody.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. How are you? I always liked jobs that were very, very challenging. And I always wanted to learn more.
Her entire life just spent helping people.
I love you, and I'll see you soon. Okay. We got to celebrate.
I'm proud of her. She rewrote how hospitals and first responders deal with high incident mass casualty events.
We're so happy for you. Congratulations.
It's so amazing when there's an outpouring of people. And I mean, shoot, all I did was retire.
With my mom, there's a lot of people. She's done some cool stuff.
Thank you for all your years of service. I love you.
Very proud of her. Proud to be her son.
That was totally fun. Foster the interactions of people with people and help them understand how tremendous they are. I think that's a good goal for retirement.
See you tomorrow. Love you.
See you later.
SpaceX founder Elon Musk is closing in on Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos' status as the world's richest person. Bloomberg's real-time billionaire tracker shows Musk with $181 billion in wealth and Bezos with $184 billion. The Forbes real-time tracker has different numbers, showing that the two men are still $18 billion apart. But Bezos lost $4.3 billion in value of his Amazon stock on Wednesday, amid fears of more regulation of big tech under incoming President Biden. Meanwhile, Musk, who is also the CEO of Tesla, saw a net worth increase of $4.1 billion due to another gain in Tesla shares. Burger King's branding is getting a whopper of a makeover. The fast food giant changing its logo for the first time in more than 2 decades. The chain says the retro-influenced look uses colors inspired by, quote, real and delicious food. The updated logo ditches the blue curve Burger King has used since 1999. The company says the refreshed look emulates an old logo used from 1969 to 1999. The brand makeover includes new food packaging, new employee uniforms, and new signage in remodeled restaurants. The Grand Canyon is the largest in the world, but NASA scientists just dropped images of a Martian canyon that is as big as the entire United States. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
NASA has released amazing high-resolution photos of what they're calling the largest canyon in the entire solar system. Yes, way larger than the Grand Canyon. The Valles Marineris on Mars stretches over 2,500 miles across the Martian equator and is 7 miles deep. This visual comparison gives an indication of just how big we're talking. The agency says if the canyon were on Earth, it would stretch the length of the United States from San Francisco to New York City. The new images were taken by a special camera called HiRISE. It's the most powerful camera ever sent to another planet. Despite the amazing new images and insights, scientists still aren't sure how the Gargantuan Gorge was formed. And from a discovery in the galaxy, far, far away, to a discovery from a civilization long, long ago. How's that for a segue? English auction house Woolley & Wallace are trying to solve a mystery of how an ancient Roman relic ended up in a homeowner's garden. The homeowner had no idea that what she was using as a horse mounting block was an ancient Roman marble slab dated to the 2nd century. Artifacts like this came to England in the 18th and 19th centuries via wealthy traveling aristocrats, but how it ended up in the garden is a mystery. The auction house is asking locals about it and is preparing to sell the stone, which is garnering pre-sale estimates of up to $20,000. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. The popular Puppy Bowl is going on as scheduled. Discovery says Puppy Bowl 17 will still premiere on Discovery Plus and Animal Planet on February 7th. Team Ruff and Team Fluff will face off in the 3-hour event with a kitty halftime show. 70 puppies from 22 different shelters will participate in the game, and all the animals featured are up for adoption. Discovery says past games have had 100% adoption rates. ESPN's Monday Night Football play-by-play announcers will provide commentary and analysis. From our whole team, thank you for joining us tonight. We do hope you have a good evening.